But I don't care what anybody says. I think your channel is so cool. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. I didn't think I was... Hey, Mom! Somebody clicked on the video! Episode 4 begins back in the day, and we see Victor as a child step out of the bunker. After looking around innocently, he grabs his disco lunchbox and turns to go home, and that's when we see it.
Wanna check out my van? I got some candy.
Just kidding!
Mutilated corpses line his way back into town. Victor clutches his lunchbox, and we cut to the Victor of today, casually drawing Julie as she sleeps.
That's suspicious.
Julie wakes up and does her best to not scream in abject terror, while Victor explains that things are starting to make sense to him.
I think I'm starting to remember things that I thought were dreams. I made you a drawing.
Get the fuck out of here!
We exchange Victor for Trudy, and she somehow manages to be more awkward than Victor.
Well, good morning, sleepyhead. It's about time you woke up. Can I have my pillow back?
Personally, I'd rather have the creepy old man drawing me while I sleep than have a 3-minute conversation with Trudy. I'm not doing it. Get your crayons, Victor. I'm going to bed.
Her name's Meredith.
Trudy wants her pillow, Meredith, back.
Oh, the pillow. You named your pillow. Uh-huh. The things that matter to you should always have names.
It says, just a long sigh here for this woman. And thanks Julie for letting her unknowingly borrow her shirt.
You know, it's kind of funny. I have a shirt just like that. Oh, I know. I got this out of your suitcase. You don't mind, do you? We share everything here.
I'm thinking Julie is already regretting her choice to live here in Colony House.
What have I done?
Down in town, Boyd grabs some gloves and heads over to the box, and we see what's left of Frank.
He's everywhere.
Boyd steels himself for his task.
Jesus.
We head over to the diner as Sarah enters to see Mrs. Luce sobbing at the counter.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Over at Casa de Matthews, Jim awakes Tabitha asleep at the kitchen table. After only one night, Tabitha is already struggling. Instead of helping to find answers, Tabitha moans about the obvious.
Jim, I'm drinking tea out of a dead woman's mug in a place that can possibly exist. In a house where another child died. What are we gonna do?
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
I don't know.
Ethan enters, and the Matthews continue with their patented parenting method of lying and coddling.
Are you crying, Mom?
No, honey, I just have a headache.
I miss Julie.
It's been like 16 hours, kid. Give me a break.
Hey, why don't we go down to that diner? Sheriff said they serve a big community breakfast there every morning. What do you say? You hungry?
Yeah.
Jim takes Ethan to the diner for breakfast so that Tabitha can sit around and cry all day.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to... I'm going to unpack.
With a barrow full of his boy, Boyd is wheeling Frank to the church cemetery when he comes across the Matthews boys on their way.
Hi, Sheriff.
Morning.
Last train to Clarksville by the Monkeys begins at an empty booth in the diner as our two hungry homies enter.
I'm Sarah.
Jim Matthews.
And you must be Ethan.
Sarah greets the gents and alludes to Mrs. Lou's prowess in the kitchen.
Do you have pancakes?
Mrs. Lou is kind of a genius. She could probably make a Salisbury steak from a tire iron.
Is that good?
With the promise of pancakes, the boys settle in. Back on Main Street, Boyd arrives at the church and Father Kotry meets him out front.
You don't leave much, do they?
Make sure he's buried with his family.
You not come back for the service? I'm sorry, something funny?
I don't even believe in Jeebus.
You gonna mention in your little service how you're the one who wanted him dead?
The men share a contentious moment and Boyd leaves.
Feel better now?
Just bring back the cart when you're done.
Clearly, last night has the whole town on edge. Over at the storm shelter bunker thingy, Jade be chillin', and Kenny comes by to check on him.
What are you doing out here?
Good eating here.
Knowing this all to be real now, Jade is trying to make sense of what he saw down there.
I've done a fuck ton of drugs. I know what hallucinations feel like. This was different. It was here, and then it wasn't.
That's my dad.
We find out how Jade made his money, and he says what we are all starting to feel.
There has got to be an explanation. And none of you fucking people seem to be.
Jade accusing the townie's laziness, Kenny asks him to follow him to the police station / post
Why don't we go
office.
back to the sheriff's station, okay? I want to show you something now.
Over at the diner, Mrs. Lou delivers a big stack of pancakes to the boys.
Whoa. Do we live here now?
Ethan is starting to get curious about the town, and he shares some of his thoughts about the town and his brother Thomas.
I think it's probably a quest. Sometimes I pretend that's where Thomas went.
What?
That he's on a magical quest, and if I try, I can help him save the kingdom.
You snooze, I eat half your fucking pancakes, fucker.
Ethan shakes Jim to his core, and back at home, Tab starts unpacking. Ethan is powering through his pancakes when Victor enters to share the results of his
science. The trees, they move 4 inches.
It seemed the trees are indeed moving, and they're moving closer. And that sucks.
Should we tell somebody?
Oh, I don't think they'll understand.
Victor mentions the boy in white and shows Ethan a picture and asks him to verify if this is who he saw.
Who drew this?
I did.
But it's in crayon.
So?
You're a grown-up.
Don't be hating.
Ethan throws some unnecessary shade at Victor and confirms that this is indeed who he saw.
That's him.
That means he was real.
Jim re-enters to find a strange older man chatting with his son and gets understandably concerned.
Let me see that.
I'm sorry.
Needing to reaffirm his masculinity after crying his little eyes out, Jim threatens Victor and shoves him out the diner.
Dad! Why'd you do that?
I have a small penis.
Perhaps feeling sheepish, Jim instructs Ethan that it's time to go. Back at Colony House, and it's Julie's turn to cry. She laments choosing Colony House, and Fatima enters to again offers friendship.
I think maybe I made a mistake.
I want you to remember this moment.
Tell you a secret. Helped once I figured out how to get my clothes back from Trudy.
Ice the bitch.
Fatima truly does care for Julie, always treating her as a little sister. The boys return home and Tabitha is nowhere to be found. Ethan scolds his father, informing him that Victor was his friend.
You shouldn't have done that. Victor's my friend.
Look, I'm sorry.
Just leave me alone.
Cutting quickly back, and the girls are doing laundry. Fatima solves her Trudy problem, and we finally see Julie crack a real smile.
Anybody. So if you're on laundry detail, it's up for grabs. It's up for grabs. Here, put it on.
The girls share a moment until Tabitha shows up.
Damn you, vile woman!
Tabitha just misses her daughter and has brought her a sweater that was mixed up in her laundry. They have a very manufactured and forced argument.
I miss you guys too. And come back with me.
We'll talk to Donna about, you made a mistake.
Why do you always do that? You make it seem like poor, stupid Julie doesn't understand what she's doing.
Maybe I made a mistake.
And that everything will just be okay once I admit that I was wrong.
I made a mistake.
Like I always have to do.
I made a mistake.
This doesn't really make sense to me because Julie herself just said that she made a mistake.
I made a mistake.
By choosing Colony House. It's a problem when Mom says it, I guess.
Got your back, Jack. Bitches be crazy.
I don't know. Anyways, Julie storms off, leaving Tabitha in tears. Back to a storyline that might matter, and Kenny shows Jade a map and explains what little they know.
The RV that the family came in, they were driving here. Me and my parents, we were in Austin, Texas. Christy, the medic, she was in Detroit. Yet somehow we all
Jade states the obvious, but is determined to figure this out.
That is fucking impossible.
You're very perceptive.
Well, see, that's the difference between you and me.
Right.
I don't just sit around accepting the world as it is.
Easy on my lamp, bro. Kenny mentions it's not that simple.
Every new person who comes here just assumes that it's just the monsters they have to be afraid of. But that's not the hardest part. It's what this place does to you. What it makes you question about every single thing that you think you know.
During his speech, however, the radio hisses and Kenny doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, it does that sometimes. Look.
What? Jade, recognizing the significance, takes the radio and dips.
Wait, where are you going? Jade!
Over at the Matthews house, Jim sits in timeout on the porch, and Tabitha enters to get mad at Jim for being nice.
She knows. She knows about that fucking divorce, Jim. She fucking knows.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, please stop saying that.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. You talk about how things are going to be okay?
That's a huge bitch!
And listen, I know it's probably the town messing with their minds, but it just seems like an excuse for them to just constantly bicker about nothing.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
Me. There's plenty to be angry about and discuss, and we just don't talk about it.
Oh, bitch.
Inside, Ethan can hear his parents arguing as he goes for a snack. He hears a noise, and we find Victor outside tapping on the glass. The Wrens continue their quarrel, and Ethan meets Victor out back.
Hi. What are you doing? We gotta go find him.
Victor says that they have to go find the boy, and that since he chose Ethan, that he has to go too.
I'm not supposed to leave.
But you have to. He chose you, just like he chose me once. But you can't take that.
Victor, being ever distrustful of modern healthcare, switches out Ethan's crutch for a more questier walking stick.
That's better. These are for quests.
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
Let's go.
And the two adventurers set off into the forest. Boyd is rebuilding the box when Father Kay comes over to give Boyd an odd brand of pep talk.
You can't keep punishing yourself, Boyd. She wouldn't have wanted that.
We learn that he's been here much longer than Boyd, and that Boyd was the one to find the talisman. Talisman? The talisman. He mentions how Boyd saved the town and how it cost him his wife.
I can still see her face when I close my eyes. Look! I can't even imagine what it must be like for you. These people need you. And that's where the sermon ends.
And that's the bottom line.
Boyd goes back to the box, and we cut to the forest, where Victor shares some more intriguing information. Apparently, he's been here the longest, but when Ethan questions how he got here, he avoids the subject. Ethan shares a little backstory of his own about his little brother, but Victor says he doesn't want to talk about that kind of stuff.
His name was Thomas. He died when he was a baby.
I don't want to know that stuff.
Why not?
I don't care.
Suddenly, he hears twigs snapping in the distance. We see a figure in white moving among the trees, and the boys take notice. It's the boy in white, and the adventurers quietly give chase.
We gotta go.
Back at the Matthews house, the unhappy couple head inside after their argument. Tabitha looks for Ethan to take him to see Julie.
Ethan!
When Jim notices the back door open. Lying on the ground is Ethan's crutch, and the couple frantically enter the forest.
Did he do it?
Back with the boys, and they seem to have found something.
A faraway tree.
Victor calls it a faraway tree, and it has some sort of teleportation properties. Apparently, there's a lot of these things, but you never know where you will end up.
What's supposed to happen?
Well, could be nothing.
He's right. Do you know that?
Victor gazes into the faraway tree when he suddenly hears dogs barking and covers his ears. He's having some sort of flashback where a young Victor is back in town, while the boy in white smiles and waves from a carousel.
We gotta go.
Tabby and Jim scream for Ethan when they come across a couple of dogs that look suspiciously like the dog in Victor's memory. The dogs bark at the couple until a shot rings out. The pooches vamooses, and we see Victor with a pistol.
Dog, you shot me.
Ethan runs towards Tabitha, and Jim is very angry. He heads towards Victor, and Vic holds him at bay with the pistol. With their son back safe, Tabitha implores Jim to leave it be.
Dad, leave him alone.
And Victor heads off.
Let's go.
Back at his house, Victor frantically rifles through his drawings until he finds one of the dogs from his flashback.
You get your ass out there and you find that fucking dog!
We enter Victor's flashback again, and we see the town decimated. Bodies are lying everywhere, and the boy in white is walking down Main Street, not a care in the world, with the dog close behind. Victor follows him to the carousel, and the boy gestures for him to follow. The pictures are definitely a key to the puzzle here.
Burn it! Send it to hell!
As the sun sets, Boyd is finishing up the box, and Jim enters to voice his concerns about Victor.
You know he carries a gun in his lunchbox?
Boyd, sensing an opportunity to mend more than just boxes, invites Jim and the fam out to dinner.
We have not had a chance to get to know each other. Let's change that.
Hey, Jacob, bum.
What are you guys doing for dinner?
Over at Colony House, Fatima has a surprise for Julie. They made room for Julie upstairs with them, and Julie finally feels at home. Over at the post office, Boyd preps for a night out with the family the same way I would. And just like that, it's dinner time. Boyd chats with the family a bit before Kenny pulls him away,
Hey, would you guys excuse me for a second? I just need to have a word with my deputy.
allowing the Matthews a moment to themselves, while the jukebox plays Blue by Joni Mitchell. Suddenly in the corner, Sarah can be seen reacting to something. She looks down at her arm, and what appear to be worms are crawling underneath her skin. She huddles near the wall, and we see the words, "Subscribe to the damn channel," have appeared on Sarah's forearm. Just kidding, it says kill the boy, but please. She glances at Ethan, then back to her arm, and we see the words have disappeared. Sarah falls to the floor convulsing, and the entire police department responds.
White privilege.
Over at Colony House, we see Victor digging as everyone gathers on the porch. Sarah continues her maraca impression, and Donna asks Victor,
What the hell are you doing? You're freaking people out.
I was just trying to get a head start this time.
Victor, you so crazy.